What's up, everybody? Welcome to part 2 of our exciting double feature of movies, Oscar contending movies with strong female protagonists and small roles from Lucas Hedges. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Good job. 3 Billboards is about Frances McDormand, who plays a mother. Her daughter was raped and murdered, and she puts up these billboards in Missouri. 3 billboards that says raped and dying and no arrests? ? How come Chief Willoughby, the chief of police,
Played by Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, this sends the entire town into like this firestorm. There are people that will defend the cops because she thinks she's attacking cops. There's also people that think, yeah, why haven't the police done anything about this rape case?
Yeah.
And again, it's not as black and white. It's really not. You've got good reasons on both sides as to the anger and the frustration, but also the defense of that.
The trailer for this movie did not represent what this movie was. The trailer looked like, oh, it's fun and it's silly, and there's goofy people.
I mean, it is.
Juicy.
I laughed more during Lady Bird than I laughed during this.
Oh man, I laughed so hard during this.
There was some.
You heard me.
I was laughing a lot. Well, part of it's you have a very dark sense of humor, but this movie, holy fuck, this is one of the darkest movies I've seen this year. It's so fucked up. It's so disturbing, but it's really thought-provoking and surprisingly, I think I would describe it as empathetic. And I kind of love it. Once again, I say this all the time. Sam Rockwell is a national fucking treasure.
Sam Rockwell for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh.
Cut it. The year's over.
Yeah.
We're done. Like, set it
Willem
up.
Dafoe was about to accept it, then Sam Rockwell came and punched him in the fucking face because he's Sam Rockwell. This guy has been a beast since fucking Galaxy Quest, and he gets better and better with each movie.
We cannot sleep on Frances McDormand, who is a fucking tour de force.
Oh yeah, she's definitely
if
nominated.
No, winning.
You think she's winning?
Oh, dude.
We haven't seen I, Tonya. We haven't seen Shape of Water.
Yeah, but it's a hard... I'll say this. It's going to be, depending on how good Shape of Water really is, it's going to be a hard fight between Hawkins and McDormand this year.
This feels a lot like Fargo, which is the last one that she won for.
This is like the anti-Fargo. If Fargo is Frances McDormand at her sweetest, kindest,
yeah,
and the world outlook is eventually kind of okay in Fargo, this one is a stone cold fucking bummer.
Yeah.
But it's a righteous, angry, sharp satire of police brutality, our justice system, the media's perception of justice, victim shaming, and at the same time, it's kind of gives an outlook on like, this is the way we should pursue justice, or not, or it's emotional, and it's complicated.
I want to give a shout out, I don't know her name, but the girl who plays the girlfriend to...
Frances McDormand's ex-husband?
This chick was so fucking
The one who
funny.
looks like Margaret Qualley?
She looks kind of like Margaret Qualley, and she plays this just dumbass bitch, and she's fucking hilarious. I'm a huge fan of Martin McDonagh's first 2 movies, In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths, which were both like really out there movies. This is significantly darker than the other 2. At the same time, you get that complexity, you get the just the vastness of the cast, which is really interesting, and it simultaneously touches on so many different themes, yet it never really... I never felt like the movie was beating me over the head with something thematically.
Because if it was beating you over the head with something thematically, you'd be able to predict what's going on. And I was entirely surprised at every turn in this.
Yeah.
Whenever I talk to people about Whiplash, I tell them the only reason I gave it a 5.5 is because there's one moment in there that like crossed the line for me.
Is it the car crash?
It is the car crash.
That's the exact same reason I gave it.
Yeah, the car crash, I was like, okay, that's too much.
Yeah.
It broke that kind of rhythm and punch that it was going for. There were moments in this movie that almost reached it for me, but the movie then explained it later and actually fit in the whole grand scheme of everything. This is what a mystery should be. It develops itself as it goes, and by the time you hit the end, you finally see the whole puzzle for what it is. If it wasn't Frances McDormand or Woody Harrelson or Sam Rockwell,
Peter Dinklage,
these people that can balance this over the top on its surface, but still get to that emotion underneath.
Yeah.
Like if you were to cast even somebody like George Clooney in any one of these roles, like George Clooney, or even a good actress like Meryl Streep, You couldn't get that kind of punch. It wouldn't carry through.
Yeah, I don't think Meryl Streep would have the grit for this.
Spoiler alert, gonna talk about some shit. There's a lot of shit to talk about in this movie, so if you don't want to know anything else except our final thoughts, scores out of 6 stars, scroll to the time code right there. If not, let's do this. The fucking progression, the kind of like dual-headed snake that is McDormand and Rockwell. When Rockwell starts out fucking as the worst cop on the face of the earth.
Sam Rockwell is the guy that, like, you know, he's hogging like the one toilet in a restaurant, sitting there like commenting like racist shit on like YouTube. He's just a disgusting person.
The best
he lives with his fucking mom. I don't know who this actress is.
She is awesome.
She's so good.
She's got the fucking Hell or High Water prize for this year because she's extraordinary. Just the way she shit talks to me. He's like, "Mama, don't mess with me. Why? What you gonna do? I'll blow your goddamn head off." It's such a pathetic character and a despicable character. The fucking scene when he and McDormand are talking in the cell and she goes,
You can say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Incredibly foul language up ahead. There's this rumor going around where he's torturing black people. So she says the line, "Oh, you don't get your jollies doing nigger torturing anymore?" And then he goes, "Oh no, we call it people of color torturing now." So his contention is the word, not the fact that he's torturing poor people, but the fact that he has to be politically correct about the people he's torturing. One of the funnier scenes in this movie too, because Sam Rockwell is such a racist piece of shit, the big scene when, spoiler alert, Woody Harrelson kills himself. We'll get back to that. And he goes on this drunken rampage, goes up to Caleb Landry Jones, who owns the advertising agency that...
Caleb Landry Jones just looks like a fucking weirdo.
He looks like a weirdo, but I really like him as an actor. Every time he's in a movie, I find myself drawn to him.
He looks like Macaulay Culkin now.
No, he looks way better than Macaulay Culkin ever did. Sam Rockwell gets just ballistic drunk, walks in there, bludgeons the fuck out of Caleb Landry Jones. Did you see the lady in front of us? That every time, like, Sam Rockwell would throw a punch, that she would go, and just, this movie shocked and dismayed this woman beyond all belief. He fucking, like, slams into Caleb Landry Jones. He takes his baton, bashes the second-story window, tosses the motherfucker out of it, goes downstairs, proceeds to bludgeon the dude in the head again. By the way, this is all happening across the street from the police department.
Yeah.
So once he's done with it, he walks away. There's this black guy standing on the corner. He kind of looks at him and he's like, "What are you looking at?" And then the end of the scene, you see the black guy just like hold his coat jacket, pull his part back, and he's got the badge. And he turns out to be Woody Harrelson's replacement later in the movie.
Do you want to talk about Woody Harrelson?
Let's talk about Woody Harrelson, because I think he has one of the coolest arcs in this movie. The beginning of the movie is very black and white, McDormand versus Harrelson.
Yeah.
And Harrelson comes out here and says...
I love his opening scene, by the way, when Sam Rockwell calls him about the Billboard. He's just like, "I'm in the middle of my goddamn Easter dinner with my goddamn family." He's like, "Sorry, kids."
He's talking to Frances McDormand. He says, "Look, we tried looking through all the evidence that we had. There's nothing connecting anybody to the rape and murder of your daughter. I'm sorry." And then she replies with, "Well, it took you 7 months to come out here and talk to me face to face. Like, what the hell have you been doing this whole time?" And they show you at the beginning of this movie, this police station is worth dick.
Sam Rockwell's reading comic books.
He's not even reading Marvel. He's reading some, like, bullshit, like, robot comics it said on the front of it.
That was maybe a licensing thing, I don't know.
You've got this great back and forth between Harrelson and McDormand. And something that I really liked about their back and forth is that even though they were vehemently disagreeing on the way to go about this case, they never demonize each other. They're in the police station and he coughs up blood in her face. The scene stops being about Harrelson versus McDormand and becomes Harrelson has pancreatic cancer and is dying, and so she realizes that at this point the battle's over.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's
like you were saying,
to take
like they're
Harrelson to the hospital.
They're in such conflict, and then that moment, and then she immediately becomes like a nurturing figure to him.
Exactly.
And he goes out to get help, and it's sort of
And I like that because
they had a great dynamic.
It shows that we as people can vehemently disagree about the way law and order should go without necessarily getting ugly about it. They think that she hates the cops and she's anti-cops.
Yeah.
When what she's really trying to do is, she says it early in the movie, as long as the case is in the public eye, people will pay attention to it. And how unfortunate is that, you know, the fucking Natalie Holloways of the world get 3 months on Fox News dedicated to their disappearance, but the millions of other women that get lost in the system, most of them people of color, just get lost in the cracks. The reason Woody Harrelson's suicide is important, unfortunately, this might be glossing over what's happening, because whenever you do see him deal with cancer, it's Woody Harrelson. He has that gallows kind of humor about it. But whenever he does die, there are these great moments where he leaves multiple letters for the people.
Yeah.
For his wife, he's like, look, I decided to kill myself because I don't want to see you suffer through the last couple months of cancer. He sends one to Frances McDormand, and he's like, look, I know people are gonna misconstrue that me killing myself is somehow related to your Billboard incident, which the media jumps on in a fucking second.
Yeah.
Which, how is that? Media plays a role in pushing a false narrative of a story that may or may not exist.
Fake news.
Shut the fuck up.
I love the fact that, like, when he gives Frances McDormand the letter, and he talking about how he's like, yeah, I know that they're gonna misconstrue this whole thing to that, like, you caused my suicide or whatever. And it's great because the way he writes it, it's not like a thing of like trying to get her. He's like, he's just fucking with her. It's like their entire relationship,
trolling with everybody.
their entire relationship is just fucking with people. And you know, I was gonna say that the scene where Sam Rockwell gets his letter is my favorite scene in the whole movie, where he's listening to the music and he's reading it as Frances McDormand is setting the police station on fire.
One, it's fucking funny because he doesn't know that shit's burning behind him until it explodes in his face.
But you like see, that's like, to me that was like the turning point for the entire movie. That's where it became Sam Rockwell's story, because
but you also notice that while Sam Rockwell is reading the letter, they're constantly cutting back to Frances McDormand. So it's not just a message for Rockwell, it's a message for McDormand as well.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't know it yet, it really was a message of, look, this kind of hatred that you have, the hate will not do anything. The calm thinking about it, like the scene where the guy fucking goes into the store and he starts threatening Frances McDormand, like he breaks something in the store and he says, oh, I'm a friend of Chief Willoughby, and maybe I was a friend of your daughter, and maybe I raped your daughter, just to try to get a rise out of her, give him some excuse to put her away. And you can tell in Frances McDormand's face that the one thing she wants to do is fucking kill this guy.
Yeah.
But she knows better, and she knows that calm and thought will eventually prevail and get her out of trouble. You know what moment almost pulled me out? I mean, pulled me out hard? The flashback scene. Whenever McDormand is talking to her daughter, and it's supposed to represent the last words she had with her daughter before she died. And they're fighting each other. She's rebellious, and Lucas Hedges is just fucking sitting there.
Yeah.
And they're getting into like a back and forth. It's very much a Rob Zombie style family, but like good. You remember the first part of Halloween, the way they're talking to each other, like, ah, you fucking bitch, goddamn. It's like, you're a cunt. Hey, there are no cunts in this household. Oh, why is she moving? The last exchange, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna walk to this party that I'm going to. I don't care if I get raped when I get over there. And then Frances' last words to her were, well, I hope you get raped when you get over there. Hard cut. I thought that was too much.
You could take that scene out and it wouldn't really change the movie overall.
It really wouldn't. I heard a lot of people in our audience just go, oh, like, how dare she say something like that? And I thought, you know, the movie was working with me without us having to hammer in that, like, not only was she not a bad mother, she said the worst possible ironic thing she could have said at that moment. If we're talking about points that kind of lost me in the movie because they might have gone a little bit too far, one of the other ones was Sam Rockwell's reading his letter from Harrelson. It says something about like, oh, maybe the case will be solved in 5 years whenever you hear somebody at a bar talking about it. And then the scene when Sam Rockwell's sitting in the bar and he hears the guy bragging about like raping and setting fire to a girl.
Was that directly after?
It wasn't directly after, but it was much later in the movie. And I thought for a half second, like, there's no way the movie ends like this, because that's too neat. That's too clean.
Well, yeah, and
this movie's not that way.
I feel like it would have been the easy way. Like, oh, Sam Rockwell was a racist, but now he's the hero because he's blah, 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 blah. I feel like if they had him solve the murder, that it's like, it would have been like this thing where it's like, oh, you know, that completely, you know, makes up for all the shitty things he did, which is not true. And at the end of the movie, I didn't get the sense that like, oh, everything's fine now for him. It's more like, okay, he's taken the first step in the right direction.
The second option that almost took me out of the movie, but thank God was redeemed, was the ending. Sam Rockwell calls up Frances McDormand. He says, look, it wasn't the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. But I found out where he lives.
It's in Idaho.
It's in Idaho.
She's like, funny, I was just heading to Idaho this morning.
So you sit there, they get in the car, they start driving towards Idaho, and I'm sitting there like, oh no. This movie cannot end like this because it completely ruins what the movie was going for. If you choose this frontier justice, all the commentary you had about that machismo, misogynistic, fucking bullheaded way of approaching justice will be completely shot in the foot. But at the end, they're like, do you really want to do this? And they're like, not really. Not really either. And then they go, nah, we'll decide on the way.
Yeah.
And I think that works because it doesn't ignore the sort of emotional justice that we feel. Like, we feel as human beings, whether we're good or not, that we want justice for something. We want to feel a sense of closure. But we know as human beings as well, that's not, if there's any such thing as legality and morality in our world, that is not the way to go about it. And so I like that the movie leaves it ambiguous to allow at least both sides to shine, because this movie always allowed both sides to shine.
Welcome back to our non-spoiler thoughts and scores out of 6 stars for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Daniel, what do you give this movie?
This one, I was teetering on it, but I finally landed on it. 6 out of 6 motherfucking stars. I love this movie. I think it's one of best of the year. We keep saying it. They keep getting really good. Like I said, whip smart satire. It's funny, it's endearing, it's dark. It's one that you can pick apart for years and still probably not find everything that's inside. This is a huge, huge endorsement from me. If you have a chance to see this movie and it sounds kind of up your alley and you've seen the trailer, go fucking watch it.
I'm gonna give this 5.5, mostly because like it is so dark that I don't know how many times I could watch it, and it did like it got so like depressing at points, and I'm like, oh god, where are we gonna go from here? But it's incredibly well made. The performances are all excellent, especially Sam Rockwell and Frances McDormand. If you like this video, click the like button down below. Also make sure to subscribe to be the first to know whenever we have new content. We got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow us on all those. I got a blog, liammgahan.wordpress.com. Link is down below. I do movie reviews there. Our buddy Noah is the Cinema Geek on Instagram.
I'm gonna watch Mudbound.
Oh my god, do you want to do an AC?
Yeah. We'll do an episode on Mudbound. It's the new World War II, would you call it a race drama? Is it just a World War II drama?
No, it's World War II. We'll go watch it.
Okay, it's the new drama.
It's a very good movie.
This is the one that people say might land Netflix a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah.
If the Academy isn't too far up its own ass to recognize like movies that only premiere really on streaming.
It's too mainstream.
You're gonna fucking put Get Out as a Best Picture nominee, but you're not including Netflix movie because it's too mainstream? Fuck off.
No, the streaming bias goes deep, bruh. We have an upcoming press screening for Darkest Hour.
Yay!
The new World War II movie with Gary Oldman as
Gary Oldman losing his fucking mind.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be incredible.
But until we do any and all of those things, thank you very much for watching this double feature extravaganza. Y'all take care and have a good night.
Diamonds.